Hey everybody, what's going on? Rob Cesternino back here with some special coverage on the year in Big Brother. Of course, we could not talk about the year in Big Brother without this man who has watched it all in real time. Taran Armstrong. Taran, how are you?
I'm doing great, Rob. Very excited to be here. I'm always very happy when we have a chance to talk to our amazing guests today.
Yeah, Taran, this is no joke because we have here with us an amazing guest to talk about Big Brother 2021. Of course, she is the host and executive producer of Big Brother Canada. It's Arisa Cox.
Yeah, well, what? 3 days?
Three.
Okay. I am paying attention.
Yes. Arisa, how are you?
I am so well. I'm beaming from the inside out. I think this has been such a stellar year in reality television. And I feel good. I feel like there's a lot of love going around. I feel like, our seasons, Big Brother and the challenge and Survivor, like they go out on ups and downs and it's such a roller coaster, but to come out of it and look back and be like, okay, that was cool. Okay, that was cool. That's a good feeling.
So, Arisa, I'm sure we're going to talk all about the Big Brother seasons from 2021. But, since we last got to see you at the end of Big Brother Canada Night, what have you been up to this summer?
Listen, I've got some kids doing some online school.
Yeah.
My son, Zinedine, turns 2 tomorrow. It's his birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you. I will pass that on. Yeah, honestly, it's been a whirlwind. I've moved. I'm in, mom mode. Very excited to have some Survivor back on my screen now that Big Brother gets a little break before next year, and it's gonna be another big year next year.
Yeah. Did you notice a couple of Toronto survivors this season?
Oh, I noticed it. I noted it. I'm cheering. I just need to rewatch the last episode because there's a lot of twists, a lot of action.
It was a big night. It was a big night. Yeah.
It's a big night. Loving the cast though. Loving the cast.
Yeah. So, Arisa, we didn't get to hear a lot of what you thought about Big Brother 23, of course, historic season with Cookout. Of course, we had our first Black winner of Big Brother in Big Brother 23. Yeah. And so we'd love to, hear your thoughts on what we witnessed this summer.
Well, first of all, I have to say that seeing a cast as colorful and inclusive and all that, it felt really good. It felt like something is moving, something is happening. And I feel like we're gonna look back and be like, oh my God, remember when that was like even a thing? Like we even had to mention that or note it or say it out loud. That is a great feeling like there is some big tidal wave that we're all a part of. And this is the stuff we're gonna look back on and be like, of course, it's so obvious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And for that, I am very, very grateful. I'm grateful to social movements that happened all around the world and the people that made that happen. And I'm very thankful for all the conversations, as hard as they were and continue to be, around race and inclusion and diversity. And so you hear those words enough, and after a while they start being, okay. But truly what it comes down to is the fact that the reason why reality TV, hits us the way it does, it's because it's real people. So when you get to see more people and more people feel like it's for them as well, like it only makes the television better.
Yeah.
And it really felt like that this season. Like, yes, we had, complete domination by the Cookout, but I also felt like there wasn't that tinge of that toxicity that I'm so used to, being sort of on the outskirts of what Big Brother can be. That made me really happy. Seeing the end game was fascinating. Am I still getting over Tiffany being the first out of the Cookout? Yeah. I mean, who wasn't?
Mm-hmm.
But it was, no, I think it was a very a very thoughtful season, some really, really great personalities. And what I feel like I want people to take away, not just audience members, but producers and people who are behind the TV shows that we love, is that, you know, you don't sacrifice anything by making a cast, a show, a production team more inclusive. I feel like you don't sacrifice in personality or hype or how invested people get. In fact, you're making this tent bigger. What I feel like it means is that you sacrifice more producing a show like this if you don't do that, if you don't look at the future, if you don't understand that, you know, TV audiences don't all look the same, aren't all the same, don't think the same. You might as well, you know, put all of it together and see what comes out. And I think we got a great season, and I'm really, really happy that it was a great season.
Yeah, Arisa, we want to explore that more with you. We lost your video to see you. Are you able to pop back on? We hear you perfect. Yes.
Okay.
It is.
There
Yes.
it is.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was really well put.
Oh no! And you didn't see any of it.
But we heard it, and it was fantastic.
Okay, really quickly, I guess the season was so much fun. It was so great to watch. I think the big takeaway is that you don't sacrifice anything by having these inclusive casts and more diversity and more people. You sacrifice more if you don't.
Yeah.
And I think that point was made.
Yeah, we got it, and you did such a great job, you and your team, really, setting the tone for all of this, because Big Brother Canada was the first show, I believe, of the major network reality shows to make the pledge to cast a 50% Black, Indigenous, people of color cast.
Honestly, one of the highlights of my career was really understanding where we could start. Like, everything just starts from one step, right? I think I was so encouraged by what was happening all over television, these conversations that were happening all over the world and not just in North America. And understanding that, my God, we have this incredible team that understands what moment we're in, what potential we have, what possibility this means for reality TV going forward. Because otherwise it's just a show. Like, Big Brother could just be a show, or it could be something that means more and has more significance. We know it has heart. We know it can have a brain, but I think we've shown that it can have a conscience as well. And so watching it as a person of color, watching it as an Asian person or an Indigenous person or a Black person doesn't make you feel bad, right? You want to feel excited and happy, and you want to root for people, and you want to go, the ups and downs. As a Big Brother fan, you want to see a perfectly executed plan, and you want to see a mess all at the same time. And I feel like, again, all of this stuff is going to be very, we're not going to talk about it in 20, I hope, right? All this stuff is going to be so basic that you have these colorful casts that I think we were so thankful to be part of that, that tidal wave. And that's what it's felt like. Yeah, I'm very, very proud of what our team was able to accomplish with BBCAN 9. And diversity has always been really important to us, but this was the time to show this is where we stand. This is what we believe in. This is how good it can be. And I think 2021 was a big year for that.
Yeah, I feel like when, Big Brother and Survivor in the US at least started, over 20 years ago, it felt like they were they were ahead of their time in the sense that Richard Hatch comes on the show and he is a gay character on the show who wins, and he is not the stereotypical gay man that you normally would see in a lot of people to
Eddie McGee.
Exactly, yeah. Eddie. And I feel like it was such a great start there, but then it felt like they never really went further. It felt to me like they stagnated. They were ahead of the curve. and then the curve came and it passed, and then they still hadn't moved. And maybe they had a little bit here and there, but when you came on as executive producer and you made the pledge, 50% Black, Indigenous, people of color, that felt like a big step forward, and it felt like that you really led the charge to get us to where we are now, which is, I think, a much better place than where we were just a year ago, 2 years ago. So I think that in all of the conversations that we're having about the cookout and everything else, I just want to make sure that I say that I really appreciate your role in all of that.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Taran. I as much as I want to take all of this to myself, it really does take a village. I've said it before. You really have to have buy-in from all the amazing people that you work with to really get what's happening and to come along with you on a ride. And never was there a moment where it felt like, oh gosh, I'm screaming into the void and nobody understands. That was not our experience at all.
Yeah.
And that makes me really happy. Now, I know that the reaction to BB23 and the cookout, not all of it has been pretty too, let's be honest, right? And the way I kind of work through that in my head is I think, okay, so imagine, 20 years ago, there was a cast of 16 on the show and they had 2 women, right? And this is what happens. Sometimes when I talk about race, I talk about gender, I flip into gender because it's so much easier to kind of understand without so much of the baggage, I think. But if there were 2 women and, year after year, they could do better, they could do worse, but you never really saw them at the end of the game. And so, bit by bit, year by year, okay, so maybe let's put in 3 women, maybe something different will happen. And nothing different kind of happens. And then one year they say, actually, let's put in 6 women out of 16, right? Not only, I think, would people understand if those 6 women decided, even if they didn't like each other all of the time, even if they, didn't always get along, but they said, we're here for a purpose, we're gonna work together, that's our big mission, we're gonna get to the end. Not only would I think people understand, but people would be cheering them on. And I think the vast majority of people who are watching, who love Big Brother, like we do, that's what that feeling was like, because this was something that hadn't been done before. And I know Tashawn had said, it's not really about the first, it's just about more people being in the club, like being able to play. And I think that ultimately is the thing. It's not about one race doing better specifically. This season happened because of all the seasons that happened before. And this is lightning in a bottle. It might never happen again like this. But I invite people to think about it that way, because some people really struggle with that aspect, and race makes people really uncomfortable. But it shouldn't. You don't have to be afraid of saying the word Black. And I know sometimes I feel like it's just say it, it's cool. But yeah, I think this has been such an incredible year, and I think no show can do what Big Brother does in terms of fostering understanding that doesn't feel preachy and like someone's trying to teach you something. It's just people living, people talking in a room, sometimes people sleeping in a bed, sometimes people are arguing while sleeping in a bed, okay? It could be all those things.
Yeah, it's just really incredible. You and your team set the tone with being the first to get there on this pledge, and I know how hard the Soul survivors and all of the Black survivors that worked with CBS, and I've talked to a lot of them about, and it was not necessarily like they called up, they said, oh, great idea, okay, we're in. There were a lot of conversations that went back and forth to get them to the point where CBS decided to, match essentially what you and your team, got to, many months earlier. So I just in case, all of the listeners, maybe who aren't, as familiar with what went on leading up to Big Brother Canada, there is a real through line to, what you and your team accomplished to, where we ultimately got here in Big Brother 23 as well.
And honestly, thank you and praise to all of the American survivors and Big Brother players who have been talking about this and forcing conversations and bringing it up, even if it was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So much respect for them, because again, I felt like we were in a tidal wave. They felt like it. And CBS came along on that wave. And I don't think any of that happened. I don't think what happened with us, I don't think that happens without them. I don't think that happens without us. I think one hand washes the other, as my mother would say.
Yeah. I also want to, that's like the behind the scenes stuff. And of course, like last summer with everything that happened on the screen, I think that, Devon and everything that she said and did along with Bailey in Big Brother 21, I think really did, set the stage for a lot of like, and heighten the awareness of like what needed to be done.
I am blown away by the people who took their spotlight and did something really positive and impactful with that spotlight. Again, Big Brother and Survivor, they're great TV shows, but they can be so much more. And I think this was a really important year to prove how much more it can be and how much more it can mean, especially to the young fans who are watching and who are going to grow up with all of this stuff being so obvious and not a big deal at all. That's always been something I've been thinking about. I have 3 children, and I want my kids to be able to watch TV and feel like they exist, that they're there, that they're just as amazing as everybody else. So I think I can't say enough about how much work so many people did on this file, including Rob as a podcast, including you, Rob, including you, Taran. So many more voices included in your team has meant so much to the people who listen to your podcast day in day. I mean, like myself. It really does like start this like domino effect, and it's only really positive. And for the people who are still struggling with that, I kind of say what I always say, which is, to the privileged, equality can feel like oppression. And I know that. But once you really think about what we've been so used to and conditioned to feel as normal, like that can change. And I think that where the bar where normal has shifted, and it's a pretty magical time. I'm not gonna lie, I love it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, thank you. It is interesting to see because I think it's something, and one of the reasons why I love Big Brother is that so much of society is reflected in how people play the game, and you see it all the time where people who are in a majority alliance will get upset when the minority alliance does something that might minorly interfere with their plans. Like, hey, come on, just be quiet. Just let me do this. Like any change to the status quo is this big affront because the status quo benefits them. That it's very much reflected in real life, and we see this. It's exactly what's happening when people are upset with more inclusion. One of the things that I really enjoyed about Big Brother Canada 9 was, and I want to know if this was a conscious effort, but in addition to more diverse casting, it also felt like you guys went out of your way to really tell the stories of who the people were on the cast as well. Especially in the beginning, it felt like there was one segment in particular that was really focused on letting them tell their stories to each other and to us. Yes, and it was such a beautiful moment. And it felt like that sort of theme existed throughout the season.
I think absolutely that was conscious. I mean, there were 3 things that we really wanted to do. We wanted to just have this banging cast that kind of represented as many, people as we could. We wanted to make sure that behind the scenes that our team was also reflective of this incredible multicultural country we have in Canada. Because not only do you need people on the shiny side of the camera, you need those people behind the scenes. You need to be able to tell those stories. And you cannot have one without the other to be able to truly express those stories. And there were so many moments like that in BBCAN 9 that really moved me and really moved so many people. Hearing Kiefer speak Haida and say how important it was for him to learn the language, which was dying out. Being able to do a real land acknowledgement that was specific to what we were doing, hearing those coming out stories, having 4 Black people in a room talk about their hair in a way that was not, you know, through the lens of somebody who didn't understand. That, and it's all those things are so small, but they're so important. And I think the third thing that we really were able to pull off this year was really playing with the texture of the challenges, and that there were so many more challenges that more people were able to be competitive in. I think that always helps. You know, like our favorite thing in Big Brother is when multiple people win HOHs and vetoes. That's like that's the dream. That's the best, right? In order to do that, you don't just think about inclusivity and casting, you think about it in challenges as well. And that makes a huge difference. And I think it did in BBCAN 9 as well.
I definitely think it did. And I think it's, I mean, Big Brother Canada 9 was an amazing season. And I think, you know, it comes down to the casting, and it absolutely comes down to the challenges. I mean, the winners of the competitions were very spread out throughout the season. And there were plenty of moments where somebody who hadn't won a competition won one and you know, turned things around, and things got a little more interesting, which is not something that we're used to on Big Brother US, unfortunately.
Well, hey, listen, it's a new era. It's a new era. All kinds of amazing things are happening. And honestly, like, you know what I don't love in DR when people shout out everyone. But honestly, shout out RHAP, okay? shout out Robin Cass.
You were saying that. I think you were about to say something good about RHAP. You're saying what you hate when people say.
Shout out, you guys have you're doing the thing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Shout out Trevor Boris. Shout out our showrunner Aaron Brock, who really like understood the assignment. Shout out CBS. Shout out Julie Chen and the cook. Listen, I could go on. I'm going to stop. Because you know how much I hate it when I watch it on TV? It's still the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Arisa, you know, if you're entering a new era of Big Brother Canada, here's something that you could use next season. Say, hey, this is Big Brother Canada 10, but it's a new era. Drop the 0, keep the 1.
Oh, I heard you. You were workshopping that before, were you not?
Yeah. If you want it to really be a totally new era, you could do
That's right. That's right. A completely new era. Listen, I can't believe we have season 10 coming up. Like, it is amazing. I don't know if you guys understand that, but that just so rarely happens in Canada. It just doesn't happen that a show sticks around that long. And that's, you know, not only because of how much love we have putting it together, but the fans, like people, we have the best fans in the world. We have the best fans in the world. And I'm so thrilled that we are back and that we are casting right now. I would say audition, but I don't think you can. You are American. But casting is open right now, and the deadline is November 19th, and I can't wait to get into it. I'm excited. We had such an amazing crop of people audition last year, and I know it's going to be the same this year.
Okay. So you would not take maybe the right American that, you know, we've taken 2 Canadians on Survivor this season. So let me just say, hypothetically, we threw like a Tiffany Mitchell at you. You'd say no?
That's a very interesting one. Tiffany is in fact everything.
You almost took Jay Swirey, so I think
just keep the options open.
You took Jay's, you can take Tiffany.
We have all kinds of options, but you remember, like in Canada, we've been watching BBUS since the start. Like I was on a reality show the year after Big Brother began. In fact, Eddie McGee was a guest on our show. And I lived in a loft with 7 other guests, I guess. I cannot believe it's been 20 years. We look fantastic, first of all. I just like to say. You are a fetus, Taran, but Rob, you and I are the same age. We look fantastic.
We're hanging in there, Arisa. Is there anything that you could tease that it's 10 seasons is a big round number? Is there anything in particular you can tell people to think about maybe?
Well, here's what I think. I think every single year we have the same goal, which is to make an incredible season. Every season has its own flavor. Every season's different. I think, I want people not to be scared to audition, because it's true. There were some amazing cast, amazing groups of people, amazing seasons we've had in 2021. And I think, listen, 10 is a round number. I think it's going to be one of our best seasons yet. Do I have to keep everything close to the chest? Of course I do.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'll see you there. I'll be talking to you as we get started, I'm sure.
Okay.
Well, I mean, season 10 of the US was, widely considered to be the best season, so no pressure.
No pressure, no pressure. Again, we're a good decade behind, but we are certainly getting there.
Yeah.
And I literally would do this until they have to pull me off the stage because.
Yeah, Arisa, I thought Big Brother Canada 9 was so great. Have you placed it in the Pantheon in terms of seasons? Do you play that game in terms of what was the best season?
The problem is that because I'm the host, I really do have such a connection to each season and to each season's cast, like a true, real connection. So much like a parent choosing their children, I simply can't do that. Did I have an amazing time for BBCAN 9? Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did. There was, mess and rivalries. And at times, remember, it was oh my God, it's going to be the classic two alliances, Sunsetters versus Oddball. And then the next week happened and nope, that's not it. We saw moves that you literally could write on paper and you'd be there's no way that's going to happen in real life. And it happened in real life. And it ended in such a fantastic way. The finale was amazing. Kiefer, our first, Canada's favorite house guest, was amazing. I think it was the season we needed it to be. I just never want a dull season. Nobody wants to watch anything dull. And I think year after year, they've just kept delivering, and BBCAN 9 was no different. I'm proud. Can you tell?
What were some of the things you were most happy with in terms of the changes that you made for BBCAN 9 that you're that was really successful? We would love to continue forward with that.
I think the three things I mentioned. I think if you've got a fantastic cast, if you have people behind the scenes who are equipped to tell some of the stories that you're going to hear because the cast feels different, and if you have incredible challenges in art direction, but competitions that really reflect everyone's abilities, I think you can't lose. I think you put in any, but I think it turns out. I mean, again, all I want is that roller coaster. All we want as producers is that roller coaster, and it to feel exciting and surprising. The second you stop feeling surprised is when people tune out. But I kept being surprised week after week by not only the winners of competitions, but some of the gameplay that we saw, some of the really risky stuff. And it never felt ugly at all. It felt really joyous. And I felt that with BB23 too, especially if you were a live feed viewer, these cast members had fun together, so much so that they won't ever leave each other, apparently, as we've seen on social media. But I think if you have the formula right, you can't lose. And again, Big Brother is such a fascinating format, and people keep coming back to it for that reason.
Arisa, when the US season is airing, is there a group text that you and the other producers are on where it's oh, okay, oh, that's an interesting idea, or this is something building off of something that we've seen on the other show that we could attempt to do on our show?
Well, I think we kind of keep it to our bubble, truly. I think if we had come into the game constantly looking at what the West had done, I don't think our show would have been as successful as it has been, because we have a different, unique place in the Big Brother worldwide, right? So, are we watching? Of course. Are they watching? I hope so. Because Big Brother one place means better Big Brother somewhere else. So I am really happy that we're all part of this family, and I'm always excited to see what they do, as I hope they're excited to see what we do.
Yeah.
Arisa, do you have the place where people can go and send in their application for Big Brother Canada 10?
I do indeed. So that's just bigbrothercanada.ca. Hit them up. Honestly, it takes no time to put in a video. So if you apply every year, continue to apply, because how many times do we hear about iconic players who I made finals for 2 years before I get it. That happens all the time.
I know one. Yeah.
Right. And if you've been watching forever and never really thought about trying, I dare you, try it. It's a really unique experience. I'm definitely somebody who does not live with regrets. And I think everyone should live like that. And if you love the show and if you think you could do it, definitely try it. It does not take a lot of time, because of course our casting is done all virtually right now. So it can be done. I can't wait to see your face. Don't be shy. All eyes on you.
Well, thank you so much, Arisa.
Yeah, Arisa, anything else that you want to say in regards to Big Brother 23 that we didn't get to cover?
It was such a fun experience watching this season. The personalities were so much fun to root for or root against, to be honest. I was really, really happy that it felt like, again, you don't have to belabor the point in terms of seeing a cast with this much energy and flavor. And listen, you guys are coming to the cookout. If you can't make it, someone will fix you a plate. But I felt like Big Brother 23 invited everybody to the cookout, even the picnic next door. They were invited.
Yeah,
and
they're all there.
And I feel like their reaction, all the other cast members who were not in that, major alliance, I feel like their reaction is really instructive for the people who did feel embittered in any way. I feel like just seeing people's reaction of just positivity, that was so exciting and kind of made me breathe a fresh, a breath of relief. That's not it. But you know what I mean? I feel like I was like, oh gosh, how will people react? And I hate to say it, but Queen Tiffany, they are so lucky that she was the one who was able to come out first and tell the story of the cookout and why it was so important, because nobody has that kind of charm and those people skills that she does. And everyone cheered her on immediately. And that was so nice to see. That was, everyone was on pins and needles waiting for that end game. And then we got there.
Mm-hmm. And then we got there. Yeah. All right. Well, Arisa, it's so nice whenever we get to catch up with you. We know you're super busy, so we really appreciate you making time to talk with us.
No, well, thank you so much for all of your coverage. Taran doing podcasts every single day. Big Brother Can 9 and 23. I don't know how you did it. That's that robot circuitry you've got. Appreciate it. And Rob, everything you're doing now for Survivor as well as Big Brother, and letting so many other voices be heard has been really, really special. And you're the best in the game. You're the best in the game.
Arisa, I really appreciate that. Now, can I make one request? Big Brother Canada and I was a little too crazy. You almost killed Taran. I have to request that could there be maybe less changing of the plans in Big Brother Canada 10? Because I don't know if he can take that again.
I did suggest for your application, you should try to ask them how indecisive they are, or some kind of question to figure that out, because that.
Okay, that was know what? Don't even try that. Don't act like you don't love it.
No, I'm saying it was a good thing. I'm saying the more indecisive they are, the better.
It's absolutely true. Like literally when there's like an hour left and I'm on stage and we're just finishing rehearsal and it's like, what's the status? And they're like, we don't know. You know how fun that is for a host? You know how good that is when nobody knows what the plan is or they think they know. But did you get the memo? Did you get the other memo? We're flipping back. I live for it because sometimes it feels like there's a lot of days between when the plan happens and when the eviction happens. And we know, listen, they get bored in there. They want to make crazy moves and they often do. So I live for it. I am very happy about that. I'm sorry you almost died covering it, but you love it.
He's fine. He's fine. Made him stronger. Arisa, where can people follow you?
I am Arisa Cox on Twitter. I am Arisa Rue on IG, which I believe is still down. Is that right?
Yeah, as of the recording time. Yes.
As of the oh, that's right. We don't want to date ourselves. But yeah, you can find me on all the socials. I am very much in mom mode in a pandemic, so I'm definitely not on as much as I used to be. But don't worry, I still creep, I lurk, I enjoy all of all of the mess from afar. So keep it coming.
Yeah. And Arisa, in addition to everything you bring as a host and everything you and your team accomplished as a producer, that you are also, such a presence on social media and so interactive and such a big part of the community. And I think that it really means so much to so many fans of Big Brother around the world, just to see how engaged you are with the subject matter. So just want to pass that along because I know that how much it means to so many people.
No, honestly, we're family. We're family, and people outside this family don't always get it. So it's really nice when we get to hang out and be as obsessed as we want to be about this thing we love. So thanks again for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay, the great Arisa Cox, everybody. Arisa, thank you again so much for joining us. Taran, anything else?
I think we're good.
Okay, of course. So much coming up, including Taran has another postseason roundtable coming up on Tuesday night. So be on the lookout for that. Maybe a few more Big Brother interviews coming up here in October. So make sure you subscribe to the podcast, robhaswebsite.com/subscribe. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.